Hey everyone, I'm Marianna, and we are finally talking about The Lodge today. Many of you have been asking me to review this film, some of you since last year because it was doing the rounds at the festivals, but it just now finally got to the Chicago area theaters, and I finally got to see it. Was it worth the wait? Let me tell you all about it. The film is a dark psychological thriller that centers around a soon-to-be stepmom and her fiancé's two kids who are snowed in at a remote lodge. The relationship between her and the kids is already difficult, but as the snowstorm sets in, things take an unexpected and ominous turn. First of all, if atmospheric slow burn horror is your thing, The Lodge is definitely for you. I personally am a big fan of winter horror. That dark, cold, snowy setting just works for me when it comes to the genre, and the film definitely delivers in that department. I will warn you though, this is more of a psychological thriller than anything else, because of how bleak it is and because it deals with death and trauma as well as some religious and cult undertones. I can see why people can classify it as horror, but don't come into it expecting it to actually scare you. It's all about the tension and the unsettling atmosphere here, which also leads me to some issues I had with it. To begin with, there just isn't that much to it. Sometimes you watch a film and it has a pretty simple concept, but it's done the right way and it just works and it keeps you engaged throughout. Here, even though the film is well made, you really feel the length, though 1 hour and 48 minutes isn't really that long of a runtime. The problem is that all of this weirdness and anticipation builds up to something that's simultaneously a logical, expected conclusion to the story, but also raises a lot of questions. And I'm not talking about being open to interpretation, which is something I actually really enjoy in films. I am talking about the general, why did certain things happen or didn't happen? And that's not a good thing. Sure, there is an audience for horror films and thrillers that are mainly concerned with tension and atmosphere, but with a slow burn film like this, there better be a payoff at the end that makes it worth it, and that's just not something I got from this film. The other major issue is that there are two films that come to mind here, and the comparison to those does not do The Lodge any favors because they are just better films. That, of course, is going to be personal because it's going to depend on whether or not you've seen those films, but at least one of them I'm pretty sure most people have seen because it's a very popular one. I am talking about Hereditary. You just cannot miss those visual similarities and specific choices if you've seen that film, and a lot of people have seen Hereditary, especially when it comes to fans of horror and thrillers. The second is Goodnight Mommy, written and directed by the same duo who are responsible for The Lodge, and if you've seen Goodnight Mommy, you will definitely notice a lot of similar themes. I know all of this may sound like I didn't really like the film all that much, but that's not true. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I already mentioned the atmosphere and the tone. Those things were done really well. The cult aspect adds to it as well. Also, despite being reminiscent of Hereditary and Goodnight Mommy, the actual story is not like either of these films, and the specifics are actually pretty original. Another thing I really liked was the relationship between the two siblings, and it was great to see some really good child performances, especially from Jaeden Martell. Also, since I'm talking about the performances, of course I have to give credit to Riley Keough. She plays Grace, the lead character, and she is wonderful in this. I will say the relationship between her character and the father of the kids could have been written better. I really do wish we got more from that, because seeing the two of them as a believable couple and understanding why she's so important to him and why she wants to spend time with those kids would have made me care about her character a lot more. Now, she is dealing with past trauma, so there is a reason why her character is the way she is, but it would have really helped the overall experience of the film to really see what her motivations are and to understand her better, because the father of this situation just gets the worst Father of the Year award, and I kind of wrote him off altogether. It all depended on her character, and there was more work that could have been done there. So in the end, I loved the gloomy atmosphere, the bleak tone, and the themes, loved the performances and the siblings' relationship, but the characters could have been written better, and there are some issues with the story itself. I do enjoy a good winter setting for horror and thrillers though. Speaking of which, before I give my final score, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, especially if you are a horror and thriller fan. I am in the middle of a video series for best of the decade films, and my next video in that series is my top 10 horror films of the 2010s, so you don't want to miss out on that. Subscribe, turn on notifications, follow me on social media. You guys know what to do. Back to The Lodge though, I have been going back and forth on this rating because there are things that I loved about this film, but the things that I didn't like as much really stood out to me, so I am going to go with a 7 out of 10. I do wish they stepped it up when it came to the writing, but there is still a lot to like about this film, especially if you're a fan of that slow burn, atmospheric, psychological horror. And that's it for this review. Let me know if you guys got the chance to see The Lodge yet. Are you looking forward to it if you haven't seen it yet? If you have seen it, I would love to know your thoughts. So let me know in the comments below how you felt about the movie. Was it what you expected it to be? Did it surprise you? Did it kind of turn out as you thought it would turn out? Let's discuss all of that in the comments below. Also, let me know what your most anticipated horror film of 2020 is at this moment. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and a special thank you to all of my patrons, with an extra special thank you to the patrons whose names are on the screen right now. Thank you to everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!